I'm Alfredo Brown with Footballguys, and I'm talking to you guys about my favorite wide receiver, Jameson Williams. Now, prior to his ACL injury, Jameson was pretty much the consensus wide receiver one amongst all the big-time NFL draft analysts. So what happened? Aside from the ACL, why is he now being seen outside of the top three receivers almost consistently? Was it just the ACL, or is it a little bit more? I'm here to tell you that I think that Jameson Williams is still the best wide receiver in the NFL draft. Let's get started.
Perfect.
So before I jump into all my Jameson Williams stuff, I'm going to start this off by saying that yes, I understand he transferred from Ohio State, but look a little bit deeper and you'll see what he did was actually a really smart decision. A crowded wide receiver room with Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and superstar Jackson Smith-Njigba. Jameson made a really smart decision by simply reading the room, the wide receiver room, and making a smart decision that's going to help get him to the next level. He had a bunch of wide receivers. They're all getting a small piece of the pie. And he said, I want the whole pie. And he went to Alabama and got the best pie in the nation. Okay. Jameson Williams made a really smart decision, and I applaud him for this, for having the situational awareness that's going to get him to be one of the top drafted wide receivers in the upcoming NFL draft. Now, from a production standpoint, before going to Alabama, Jameson had just played in 10 games for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and in those 10 games, he totaled 15 catches for 268 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, it's a small sample size, right? That's not a whole lot for us to go on, but what we do see in that small sample size is that he always had that ability for long yards per catch and scoring touchdowns. He continued with that sample size and kept that trend going when he went to Alabama. He was 5th in the NCAA in receiving yards and 3rd in receiving touchdowns in 2021 as part of the Crimson Tide. Now, he did all that while being really, really efficient and averaging nearly 20 yards per catch on just 79 receptions for the season. Now, the stats are all really pretty and really nice, but I'm a former scout. I like to dive into the film. Let me tell you a little about what I saw on his film. Now, he's an absolute speed freak, legitimate sub 4.3 guy. Speed like that is really special and doesn't come around very often, but not all speed is going to be created equal. There's going to be some guys that can be really fast and they can only do one thing with that speed, and that's go straight. Jameson Williams is a lot better than that, and I can appreciate a player like Jameson Williams. Now, in his case, the speed shows up on tape. Now, he has a really, really good knack for creating separation. And when I say really good, I literally mean he is the best in the class at creating separation. Now, he's so springy with his routes, and the way he runs, you can see that he's a former track star. Defenders are always kind of guessing which direction he's going. And despite his relatively thin build, he didn't really have any problems when guys were jamming him at the line or when he was getting hit in the open field. It really wasn't that bad for him. The issue was defenses were scared of how fast he was. They couldn't really afford to leave a defensive back up close on him or one-on-one without safety help over the top. When he is covered one-on-one, man, Jameson's natural athletic ability to leverage a defender into turning their hips and shoulders into one direction while he can quickly turn and go the other direction, shift gears, getting open for his QB to get him the ball. It's just top notch. I can't even put it into words how good it is. It's genuinely poetry in motion. Now, my favorite thing about Jameson Williams actually isn't even his speed or the route running or any of those gaudy numbers. One of my favorite things about a receiver is the ability to find open space in the field and stay there. It sounds almost too simple, right? You're a receiver, get open, catch the ball. But so many receivers run their routes and keep running their routes right into more coverage. He actually sits, stops, and waits in the cushion and lets Bryce Young pass him the ball. And that's what allows him to create so many of these great yard after catch highlight reel plays. Now, a lot of these speed guys, like I said, can be one-trick ponies. Jameson Williams, not that guy. Now, just 2 months after his ACL surgery, Jameson's already out and about just doing kind of crazy stuff. No one has really seen players recover so fast. I don't know what's in the water right now, but NFL prospects and NFL players are recovering faster than ever. Jameson's already been out there moving around again and showing it up on videos. So to get a little more insight into the medical side of what's going on with Jameson Williams, I brought in my friend and co-host of my podcast, The Pretend GM, Dr. Vignesh Doraiswamy, and he had this to say about Jameson Williams. He said, best we can tell, this is a young elite athlete who had an isolated injury to his ACL with no injury to his meniscus. Now, he also quickly had surgery with no delays, and though everyone claims to be ahead of schedule when it comes to rehab, he actually appears to be doing quite well overall. While he could perhaps have a return to his game that's a little slow when he first comes back, I fully expect Jameson Williams to be 100% of the athlete he was, if not more, for the latter half of the year 1, as well as year 2 and beyond. So you heard it, not just from a former scout, not just from a doctor, but you've seen it in the numbers, and you're starting to see Jameson Williams slowly creep up draft boards, whether it's experts on the NFL, ESPN, so on and so forth. Jameson Williams is still my wide receiver 1 in this NFL draft, and he should be yours as well.